This is the Retirement Key Podcast with Abe Abich, founder of Abich Financial Services.
Abe, there's this article online talking about how a Roth IRA is the MVP of retirement savings. And I know that you think very highly of Roths and the benefits that they serve in our retirement plans. So coming up in this first 15 minutes of our conversation, I want to ask you about how we can make a Roth an MVP within our own plan. But first, let's talk about market volatility, because we're in a better space than we were this past spring, thankfully. However, it was a little bit of a wake-up call to folks, particularly the folks that you work with that are in retirement, Abe, or close to retirement. There is a video online of a financial advisor from Charles Schwab where he was giving his 3 tips about retiring in volatile market and how to manage that space. And his advice included 1, don't sell in a down market. 2, cut back on your spending. And 3, consider a part-time job. And these last 2 points, I think, don't sit well for somebody who is close to or in retirement. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on this list.
Sure, yeah. Let's talk about each of these 3. This sounds like advice, in my opinion, coming from a phase 1, what we call a phase 1 accumulation-based advisor. Don't sell in a down market. Well, duh. I mean, we do not want to sell. Ideally, when the markets are falling, that's the worst time to sell. But that tells me that maybe this advisor, and I know many other advisors and many other firms out there, in fact, the majority of the industry, are stock market based, meaning, the majority of the investments that are put together in a portfolio for our client are stock market based, stocks and bonds predominantly, maybe some mutual funds, the ETFs and things like that. Very little protection, very little safety, put into the nest egg. Again, because the focus with over 90% of the industry is accumulation and investments, rate of return, all those things. That's not wrong. That's not bad. But as we near the point of retirement and we figure out that we've saved enough to retire successfully, and then we're entering into this new phase of life and retirement, phase 2, we call it, the plan should start to shift and change. Wages are ending. We're going to start needing income, start wanting income from our last 30 to 40 years of work. So don't sell in a down market. Of course, that would be, foolish. However, lots of people, Heather, are forced to sell in a down market if they need or want money from the nest egg, if they have no protected funds, right? If there's nothing protected in the portfolio, no safe money that they can get to without incurring sequence risk. That's really what that is. Selling in a down market and withdrawing out while the markets are falling, terrible. Then some people have no other alternative because they don't have a plan for phase 2. Cut back on your spending. Well, who wants to do that? Who wants to live a retirement dictated by what the markets are going to do?
Right.
And oftentimes you'll hear advisors say, well, if the markets aren't doing great one year, just spend less that year. Just don't take that trip that year. Are you kidding me? You are going to make your plans for the year and book your trips or not book your trips based on what the stock market's doing? That does not sound like a retirement that Abich Financial clients live. I'll tell you what, it's not. That is not a retirement that Abich Financial clients live. That is a retirement that some retirees live, but shouldn't be. It's a retirement that some retirees live because they have very little protection wrapped into their portfolio. Right? They're all in the markets. Consider a part-time job. Again, are you kidding me? Like, we're going to have to go back to work?
This is where this guy lost most of us in this conversation.
Yeah, I mean, do you really want an advisor telling you, well, Heather, if your guys' portfolio kind of stinks one year and the markets are down 15 to 20%, you can always go back to work. I mean, I can't imagine the eye rolls that would come back at me if I said that as part of the advice we're giving. That is not part of what a retirement should look like. Now, if you want to continue working part-time, you want to continue working full-time, sure, go ahead.
Because you want to. There's a difference between a want to do it versus a have to do it.
Man. So having a plan, a proactive plan put together in advance of the ups and downs. We talk about this every single weekend. So crucial. That way you're living retirement and life on your own terms, not based on what the stock markets are doing. We just helped a couple in Alexandria, Virginia, about $2 million saved. They came to us for a lot of these reasons that we just kind of talked about. Federal government employees, each husband and wife has a big federal FERS pension. Each of them had TSPs. 100% of the money that they had saved pretty much was in the TSPs. pros and cons there. Obviously, they got the $2 million, so a nice amount saved, but that money in the TSP is unmanaged. Obviously, there's no advisor that's managing it. It's unmanaged. Typically people buy and hold in the TSP and kind of just hope things work out. And if you buy and hold for a long enough time, things can work out. The markets do work out long term. But what about in the middle, right? What about in between? What about in these years and periods of years where we have volatility? So unmanaged life savings, not a lot of control around that. Fewer options inside the thrift savings plan as compared to maybe what might be available on a Charles Schwab or Fidelity platform. No management and no distribution strategy. Here they were retiring soon. No distribution strategy, no plan to transition into retirement. $2 million bucket of money, the pensions, Social Security, nearly all of it invested in stocks. So they came to us for a complimentary second opinion. And the plan was to reduce risk. They wanted to be closer to a 5 on our scale on 1 to 10, closer to a 50-50 split between growth and income. They were nearly 100-0, or almost all stocks, full pedal to the metal. That's what got them into the $2 million. And again, as we talk about, you're transitioning into retirement. The wages are ending. If you want to invest like a 30 to 40-year-old, you better be prepared for the volatility that's going to come with investing as a 30 to a 40-year-old. And that doesn't make a lot of sense for most people heading into retirement if you've won the game and have enough money saved to retire with dignity and confidence. We reduced risk down close to a 5, so they had a combination, Heather, of both growth and income, not just solely growth. This plan allowed them to live comfortably, to travel, to spend money in up markets and down markets. I mean, this couple is traveling to Ghana, Italy, Greece, and one other country this year. 4 trips. Wow. Yeah, we had volatility a couple months ago. Yes, the markets are back now. This is what the markets do every single year, right? They go up, they go down, and they are not living their retirement based on what the markets are doing. They're living their retirement because they have a proactive plan put together in advance of all these things that the markets give and take away. If you're listening right now, you're not 100% confident in the retirement plan, the portfolio you've put together right now to help you transition into full retirement. You need that confidence. You deserve that confidence. We want to help give you that confidence by giving you a complimentary second opinion. A portfolio x-ray and analysis is what helped this couple in Alexandria to learn what they have, how to generate income, how to protect their life savings, how to spend it and preserve it all at the same time, so their retirement is not dictated by the markets. If you're 55 years old and older, you save $500,000 or more for your retirement. Pick up the phone right now. For the next 5 callers and others, we want to offer you the same portfolio x-ray and analysis complimentary.
571-570-3559. Give us a call right now for your complimentary portfolio x-ray and analysis. 571-570-3559. That's 571-570-3559. All right, Abe, besides market risk and how we want it to not affect our retirement, another thing that we talk about all the time is taxes and how they could or could not affect our retirement with proper planning in place. So there was an article on bankrate.com talking about the Roth IRA, and they were calling it the MVP of retirement savings. The article goes on to talk about how the after-tax contributions and the tax-free withdrawals are what work to help us in our retirement. However, the Roth does have limitations, as this article pointed out. The amount you can contribute declines and is eventually eliminated at a certain level of income, and the money has to sit for 5 years before you can access it. So, Abe, as a financial advisor, how do you help people work around limitations to make a Roth work, be that MVP type player in our retirement plan?
Yeah, Heather. And when I first got into this industry and business, 23 years ago, I was told by my mentor, Abe, the Roth IRA is God's gift to financial planning. Yeah. Why would that be? Because it can be one of the most tax advantaged accounts someone can have in retirement. All the money you've socked away plus growth, tax-free, can be distributed tax-free, can pass on to your loved ones tax-free. And there's nothing better than tax-free,
right?
And not paying taxes on those dollars and gains. And, I think a lot of retiring successfully is knowing the rules to the game, right? And there's a lot of confusion, misunderstanding about Roth IRA contributions. As an example, a lot of people don't know that the Roth is available inside the TSP and 401ks, and there are no income restrictions on how much you can contribute to a Roth TSP or Roth 401k. You could be making $1 million a year and still contribute to the Roth portion of your employer plan. You could not contribute to a Roth IRA, but you could convert money into a Roth IRA from a traditional IRA. You need to know the rules to the game. There are always opportunities. There are always workarounds and strategies that may or may not be right for you. And so you need to know the rules of the game. Half of that, is just coming in and getting educated on all the options available to you. We just helped a couple in Frederick, Maryland. They have about $1.5 million saved. All the dollars are pre-taxed, making too much money to contribute to Roth IRAs, not making too much money to contribute to Roth 401ks.
Okay.
So part of their tax planning with us is to continue contributing to Roth 401ks and doing Roth conversions from their traditional IRAs into Roths. Next year, their income is going to lower. One of the spouse's income is going to go away. Their income is going to lower by about $100,000 to $150,000. Well, bingo, huge opportunity for tax planning.
Okay.
And we're going to convert that same amount of income that's going away into a Roth. In other words, we're going to convert about $100,000 to $150,000 a year, the next 4, 5, 6 years, into Roth IRAs, since their income has basically been cut in half. The other spouse is going to continue working, and one spouse is going to retire. If you're listening right now and you say, you know what, Abe, we've saved several $1 million, $500,000, $5 million, $10 million, whatever it is, everyone has a tax problem, a tax challenge. And that is in the United States of America, for most retirees, a lot of retirees, taxes will go up on you probably. And even if they never went up, if you've got a big bucket of money saved and you've got substantial RMDs coming down the pike in your 70s, your income will increase, which will more than likely increase your tax rates. If you're not confident in having a tax planning strategy to lower and mitigate taxes as much as possible on your life savings, pick up the phone right now. If you're 55 and older, you have $500,000 or more saved for your retirement. We want to offer you the same tax mapping report and analysis that we offered to this couple in Frederick, Maryland.
571-570-3559. Call right now for your tax mapping report and analysis. Again, complimentary, 571-570-3559. That's 571-570-3559. And while you're at it, if you're on a mission to find a financial advisor and you're wondering where to start, planner Michael Kitces was telling Yahoo Finance that for most people, it begins with an online search.
The number one Google search for financial advisors is financial advisor near me, which to me basically says, so advisors are so hard to differentiate from. I just picked the one that's geographically convenient to my home or office. And so from the consumer end, I empathize a lot with consumers. They think really struggle to figure out how to tell us apart. How do you tell which one's good? How do you tell which one's knowledgeable? Because we don't really articulate our specializations very well.
Abe, in your opinion, what should somebody be looking for when it comes to finding the right fit within an advisor?
Yeah, good question, Heather. And Michael Kitces is a very well-respected financial professional in our industry, and he's right, because it is very hard to tell, like, who should I go to? I mean, there's a financial advisor on every block. So first off, we call ourselves retirement planners because, as you know, and I think our audience knows, for the most part, we only work with people 55 years old and older. In fact, most of our client base is in their 60s and 70s. That means they're at the point of retirement. They're just about to retire, maybe late 50s, heading into 60s. A few years left, sometimes months or less to retire. And so that's a specialty. It's our understanding that over 90% of the industry helps people to accumulate and save and invest and grow and to get to the top of what we call their retirement mountain. And less than 10% of the industry, in our understanding, helps people descend down your own retirement mountain safely into retirement. That's a specialty. Maybe you're in your 20s and 30s and you need help buying term life insurance and setting up a college education plan. I would look for someone who specializes in college education planning. Maybe you're a business owner and there are advisors out there that really specialize in working with small business owners. There are professionals out there that really just specialize in helping people with long-term care and on and on. So I think you want to find someone who really specializes in the area of life that you're looking for that planning. I think you need to find a fiduciary advisor who advises and gives advice that's in your best interest, not theirs. A specialist. I think you want to work with a firm that's not humongous and not tiny, like one advisor, one person, or not hundreds and hundreds of people, right? Where you're just a number or millions of, one of a million clients. We're a boutique firm. We've got about close to 30 people on the team, about 1,200 clients. Our clients get the love and care and the attention that they need and deserve that they may not get from a one or two person firm who can't give them that attention because they're too busy, or a humongous firm where you're just lost as a number.
Okay.
We just helped a lady here in Ashburn, Virginia, where we're headquartered, over $4 million saved, has been with her advisor for over 30 years.
Wow.
Without getting a complimentary second opinion, getting everything checked. She started asking a lot of questions. She's in her 70s about RMDs, distributions, healthcare, tax planning. You see, when you have $4+ million, you want to learn about how to protect it from all the risks that can mess it up. And her advisor was basically giving her generic answers. And she said, you know what, there's got to be a better way. I'm going to start researching. And she found us out there, came in and became a client, put together a phase 2 plan, addressed all of her concerns. We'll be meeting with her 4 times a year versus once a year with the other advisor. She had a virtual relationship. The advisor wasn't even in the area.
Jeez.
Finding a financial professional locally, I think there's a lot of value to that as well. If you're listening right now, you may be working with an advisor for a very long time. It could be a close family friend or a good friend. You may not be working with an advisor. You're a successful do-it-yourself investor. You don't have a phase 2 plan set up. You're looking for an advisor to give you that confidence that you need heading into retirement. Pick up the phone right now. If you're 55 and older, you've saved $500,000 or more for your retirement. We want to offer you the same retirement income plan and roadmap that we offered to this lady in Ashburn, Virginia, to the next 5 callers and others, complimentary.
571-570-3559. Give us a call right now to plan a time for your retirement income plan and roadmap, complimentary. 571-570-3559. That's 571-570-3559. Yes, it's getting down to the end of the year, which means come a few more weeks or months, you're 1 year closer to retirement. And I mean that in a positive way. That's a good thing, right?
That's right. Amen to that.
You just did another one of these mountain hikes that you like to do.
Yeah, another 29029 Everesting Mountain Challenge. You've got 36 hours to climb the equivalent of Mount Everest without kind of risking your life on Mount Everest. So we climbed Mont Tremblant, about 90 minutes north of Montreal, 15 times, about 2,000 feet per ascent.
Amazing.
Within 36 hours, and you get the red hat when you do it. But the mountain climbing is a lot like life. You have ups and downs, highs and lows, and easy goals aren't fun, right? You don't grow when you have easy goals. When you have hard goals, but achievable goals, personally and business life, that's where you really grow.
Got it.
So, yeah.
And
had a great time.
You talk all the time about the mountain that is the retirement mountain. We work our whole lives climbing to get to the top of that mountain. But it's the descent that can be so harmful if you're not prepared, if you don't know how to get yourself, quote unquote, down that financial mountain in retirement.
Yeah, because for most of everybody's careers, we're focused on getting to a certain number, right? It might be 5 million, 1 million, 2 million, 500,000, 10 million, whatever it is, the goal that you have to accumulate to create the income that you want and need over your retirement years. That focus has always been that number and the growth and the investments you're choosing. And then you wake up at 58, 62, 65, and you're like, well, man, I've got my 5 million now. I've got my number. I want to spend more time on my boat. I want to spend more time fishing. I want to spend more time traveling. I want to spend more time with my grandkids. I don't really want to get up at 5 a.m. to catch that 90-minute commute on the train or 495, and I want to sleep in a little bit longer. And when people go on vacations, when our clients go on vacations and they're close to retirement, they're like, I could get used to that. I could get used to being away at the beach. Absolutely. So we need a new plan, though.
Well, let's talk about some of these things you just pointed out then, Abe, and the idea of how it comes together in the type of plan that you build at Abich Financial. Of course, none of us like losing money on our investments, but in the case of stocks and market loss, there is opportunity. There is a silver lining, and it's called, you may have heard of this term, tax loss harvesting. And what it does is it creates an opportunity to reduce your federal income tax liability. So, Abe, and one of the things we like to address on this radio program is the financial jargon that gets tossed around, these terms that get tossed around so much, and the blanket advice, we like to break it down. So let's first explain, what is tax loss harvesting?
I'll try to keep it as simple as possible.
Okay,
Look,
great.
this only pertains to your brokerage accounts, your non-qualified, non-IRA, non-TSP, non-401k accounts, your after-tax brokerage accounts that you might have at Charles Schwab, Fidelity, or wherever. You might have some stocks in there, some bonds, some ETFs, some mutual funds. Tax loss harvesting is being able to take advantage of any losses you may have and gains and offsetting the two, right? So let's say, just random example, you've got some Mag 5 or Mag 7 stock that's done really, really well, but you've also got some losers in your account. Let's say you've got $10,000 worth of losers and 10,000 or hopefully way more of that in gain. Well, you can offset the losses with the gains or vice versa and end up potentially with a zero tax bill or a very little tax bill if you do it right. So now when the market's going straight up, you may have way more gain than loss, right? But when the markets are volatile, we just saw it earlier this year where the markets were down. We saw it several years ago when the markets are down. There should be and will be some tax loss harvesting opportunities. So tax planning is a huge reason, huge part of what we do here at Abish, huge reason why a lot of clients come over from other firms to have that tax plan implemented and be combined with their investment plan.
All right. So understanding tax loss harvesting and what it is fundamentally, then how do you apply it in the plans you created, Abish?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, usually several times a year, especially towards the end of the year, we want to see how the markets and how clients' accounts have done and see what those opportunities might look like towards the end of the year, especially. But also just Roth conversions and other tax planning opportunities that are going to be available there for a lot of people. Those are opportunities we typically like to pursue and like to make sure our clients are aware of because taxes are top of mind for a lot of people, right? If you've gotten to that number, and again, that might be 3 million, 5 million, 1 million, whatever it is, that you need to have saved. I mean, the markets have been up for the most part the last many years. So you're likely at the number you need to be at to retire successfully, or maybe even have exceeded that number. Then you're going to realize, wow, well, I did like most Americans did, and I contributed most of the time to pre-taxed accounts. And so most people we meet with, Heather, across the conference room table, have the right amount of money saved. The amount of money is there. But where that money is saved, the location of those dollars is another story.
Okay.
That's where tax planning, great tax planning, can come in to help clients save on taxes with proper tax planning, keep more of their hard-earned dollars in their pockets and less going out to taxes. That's done through proper tax planning. An example, we had a client recently come in from the Rockville, Maryland area with about $5 million accumulated. The perfect amount for them, based on their income needs, needing several $100,000 of income in retirement, retiring within 2 years, less than 24 months away, literally at the goal line, just ready to retire on their terms, as long as they feel confident in the retirement plan they're going to have to transition into this next season of their lives. The biggest thing they needed help with was tax planning. Very concerned because the majority of their dollars are pre-taxed, and distribution planning. Working with a few phase one advisory firms, not getting the tax planning and distribution help they feel like they need and deserve. So here they are coming in for a complimentary second opinion with us. And we pointed out pros and cons. We pointed out exactly how we can help them, not just with a continued investment plan, but with a roadmap. We start with a roadmap. That's an income plan. Hey, if you retire in the next 2 years, here's what you need to be aware of. Here's where your income is going to come from. You're going to have Social Security. There's a pension in the picture, $5 million on top of it. Here's what your $5 million will likely be able to produce. And oh, yes, by the way, we can create the income that you need, but this is how you need to do it. They didn't even get that far with their 2 current advisors because the 2 current advisors are phase one advisors spending most of their time talking about rate of return, investment allocation, diversification. While that's important, if you have the amount of money you need saved to retire with dignity and you don't know how to get it out and distribute income to yourselves or the rest of your lives, you don't know how to protect it and preserve it from market risk, from tax risk and all these things, then what's the point? You don't have a plan. How can you have the confidence you need to retire and cross over that finish line successfully? You won't have it until you have the right plan.
Right.
So that's exactly what this couple came in for. And we put together a phase 2 comprehensive plan for them. We call it phase 2 because that's the back end part of your lives where you need that income, you need that protection, you need a new plan because you're in a new season. You're not working anymore.
Right.
When they got the tax mapping report and analysis combined with the roadmap, It was more information, more detail, more of a plan than they had received together from their prior advisors. And they learned how they were able to put it all together so that they can really enjoy the fruits of their labor. If you're listening right now and you don't have a phase 2 comprehensive retirement plan put together, you don't have a plan to address taxes, maybe one of the biggest things that you need a plan for as you head into retirement, then pick up the phone right now. We'd love to give that to you. We'd love to provide that to you complimentary to the next 5 callers and others. If you are 55 years old and older, you've saved $500,000 or more for your retirement. Pick up the phone right now. We want to offer you the same tax mapping report and analysis with that roadmap that helped this couple from Rockville, Maryland to learn how they can retire successfully.
571-570-3559 is that number to dial right now for your complimentary tax mapping report and retirement roadmap. 571-570-3559. Give us a call right now. That's 571-570-3559. All right, so the idea of tax loss harvesting, a headline a lot of us have heard about, wondering how it could apply. Let's talk about something else that you maybe have heard and you have questions about, because the conversation around bonds, I feel like everybody's like, boo, bonds. The past 5 years, bonds have been performing so poorly. And here comes personal finance guru Tony Robbins, who so many people respect and listen to. He's saying that we need bonds in our portfolio. Tony Robbins calls bonds the, quote, foundation of a mind-blowing portfolio that works in all economic climates. Do you agree? Because you have yourself said that bonds are essentially dead money the past few years.
Yeah. You know, yields on bond funds have been traditionally historically low. I mean, if one example, BND, that's B as in boy, N as in Nancy, D as in dog, BND, that's Vanguard's bond ETF. If you look that bond fund up, which is a really good example as to how the bond markets have done, it combines corporate bonds, government bonds, international bonds, muni bonds into one bond fund. That bond fund has averaged just over 3%. That fund came out in 2007. It's like 18 years. It's barely made over 3%. The last 10 years, it's made less than 2% when the markets had been on fire.
Right.
The last 5-year average annual return is negative when the stock market has been on a tear.
Yeah.
How can bond funds lose value? Well, bond funds have an inverse relationship with interest rates. So the fact that he said that bonds work, that they're should be part of a mind-blowing portfolio that works in all economic climates. Well, if we look at 2022, that bond fund, which was many people's safe harbor in their investment accounts and portfolios, lost 15%. That means had you had $100,000 in that bond fund on January 1st, by the end of the year, you were down to $85,000. Losing 15% of someone's safer monies in their portfolio, while the stock side was down 17 to 20, there was nowhere to hide for most Americans in 2022.
Yeah.
So I don't think that means that bonds work in all economic climates. They have some pros and cons. Now, nothing's perfect. Everything has a pro and con. Stocks, bonds, ETFs, annuities,
even
notes,
cash
real estate
has pros and cons.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, will we have some short-term treasury bonds in the portfolio? Sure. Right. But typically, we're not going to put 30, 40, 50% of someone's money's life savings into an asset class that's going to have low yields and the potential to lose principal when interest rates rise. So we just recently had a couple come in from Frederick, Maryland, about $2 million saved, government employees, all the money is saved in the TSP, all CS&I, those are the stock funds in the TSP, looking for a local fiduciary firm to help manage their retirement plan for the rest of their lives, invested almost like a 10, nearly all stock, wanting to come down to a 5. Since bonds have such low yields and can lose value when rates rise, we use some bond alternatives, mixed in some principal protected instruments, some instruments that have buffered protection that we also use as bond alternatives. All that was discovered, put together for them through a portfolio X-ray and complimentary second opinion. If you're 55 years old and older, you've saved $500,000 or more for your retirement, we want to offer you the same portfolio X-ray and analysis with that complimentary second opinion that we offer to this couple in Frederick, Maryland, that helped them to understand where they're headed into retirement.
And again, if you're ready to begin this review process with Abe and his team, give us a call, 571-570-3559. 570-3559. You can also find us at theretirementkey.com or call us right now, 571-570-3559. So it's football season. Maybe you're going to go watch the Washington game. While you're there, enjoy a hot dog and a soft drink beverage of choice. And as you do that, know this, you are subtracting minutes from your life with each sip and bite that you take.
Very expensive hot dog and beer and soda, by the way.
That's right.
Yeah.
And expensive in more than one way, in more than a financial way. According to this, there was a study done by the University of Michigan where they actually, they claim to have figured out how many minutes in life we are losing by enjoying one hot dog. Apparently, it can shorten the course of your life by 36 minutes. So if you go back and count all the hot dogs you've had, not just the football games, but the baseball games and the summer barbecues. A sugary soft drink is going to shorten your life by 12 minutes. Apparently, the study also shows that you can actually add length to your life if you add fish in and you know, the fibrous starches. Those are to add the minutes back. And this is actually what brings me to you, Abe, because one of the big conversations with the retirement plans you create is about giving people their time back. And another study done by Northwestern Mutual found that those who work with a financial advisor actually can kind of, in a way, buy back their own time and retire on average 2 years earlier and feel more confident about the future. So let's talk about that, the benefits of the work that you do helping people figure these plans out.
Yeah, absolutely. One of my greatest joys, actually, Heather, is getting someone retired, you know, someone single or married, retired a couple years prior to what they, earlier to what they thought they can retire. I mean, it's just to see people's faces saying, really? Like I can retire next year instead of 3 years from now? And it's amazing. But a lot of that doesn't happen without a financial plan, without a retirement plan. How the heck would you know? Right. Unless you're crunching your own numbers. But it's not like, the average American is looking at their financial numbers every day, unless you're in the business, of doing so like we are. So having a plan, number one, you're going to have the clarity, additional clarity that you need. You're going to have added confidence that a fiduciary retirement planning firm has tested the math that has helped over 1,000 families to retire successfully with dignity and confidence and can do so for you. Just helped a single widow. She's 70, $4 million saved, Arlington, Virginia. Not 100% confident. Here she is, already retired. So we didn't help her retire, but we've taken over since then. Not 100% confident in a reactive relationship with her advisor versus, just a proactive relationship, which should be where the advisor is reaching out, the firm's reaching out. Instead, she's having to reach out more often than the advisor. The relationship, in addition, was virtual, not in person. A lot of our clients, just old school, wanting to meet in person. That's how our firm is too. It's what we enjoy and prefer. Put it all together for her in a comprehensive plan addressing her biggest concerns. That's a retirement roadmap. If you're 55 years old and older, you've saved $500,000 or more for your retirement. You're not 100% confident in your retirement. Pick up the phone right now, and for the next 5 callers and others, we want to offer you the same retirement roadmap that helped this lady in Arlington to give her more clarity, give her more added confidence by implementing a comprehensive plan that was ideal for her.
571-570-3559. Call us right now for your retirement roadmap. Again, complimentary. That's 571-570-3559. 571-570-3559.
Thanks for listening to the Retirement Key Podcast with Abe Abich. To learn more about Abish Financial Services, visit theretirementkey.com and join Abe for his radio show, The Retirement Key, Saturdays at 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 8 a.m., 2 p.m., and 5 p.m. Abish Financial Wealth Management is a registered investment advisor with the SEC. Registration as an investment advisor does not imply a certain level of skill or training, and the content of this communication has not been approved or verified by the United States Securities and Exchange Commission or by any state securities authority. The information contained in this material is intended to provide general information about Abish Financial Wealth Management and its services. It is not intended to offer investment advice. Investment advice will only be given after a client engages our services by executing the appropriate investment services agreement. Information regarding investment products and services are provided solely to read about our investment philosophy and our strategies.